Hello, Hofstra University. How's everyone doing? All right. Have a lot of fun today. We have some very special guests, as you know. Many of you are here to see them. Did anyone else wake up this morning, decide to go for a walk because the soon-to-be summer sun was shining down on them today? Did anyone else? Raise your hand. Well, you're in luck. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, middle children everywhere, get ready to climb that sunshine staircase of nostalgia all the way back to a time when bell-bottoms were bold, perms were powerful, and somehow 6 kids, a dog, and 1 bathroom just worked. They survived tiki curses, disastrous talent shows, unique fashion trends, sibling rivalries, and a dad who never lost his cool. Please welcome 4 members of TV's most iconic blended family, the groovy, the golden-haired bunch themselves. Give it up for Susan Olsen, Mike Lookinland, Christopher Knight, and Barry Williams. All right, welcome everyone. Usually, I was overhearing some of the cast while they were signing. By the way, obviously you can meet all 4 Bradys over there anytime today between now and 6 p.m. at the Chocolate Expo. We'll be right over there taking photos and signing autographs. But they always mention that the first question they get is, what was it like, or how was it being on the Brady Bunch? I'm changing that. We're not going to start with that question. Because the Chocolate Expo, we're going to start off with a very controversial question. What is your favorite piece of chocolate or candy?
There is only one chocolate. It is dark chocolate.
Yeah!
75%.
Woo! Yes!
The chocolate that's in my hand. Whatever that may be.
I have a very strange pedestrian taste in my candies, my candy bars. I like Almond Joy.
Yeah!
That's my favorite.
But it's milk chocolate all the way. Milk chocolate. That's right.
Brock's, I don't think they make them anymore.
Yes, I remember.
Brock's
Yeah, I remember.
Chocolate Stars.
Yes! Yes!
All right. So, you've been on an iconic show that's spanned the past over 50 years. You guys have become not just a blended family on screen, but also it seems like you're very close as well. First question I have is, what do you think made the Brady Bunch such an endearing show, such an iconic show for over several decades? Why is it still so popular today?
People are psychic. People are a lot more psychic than they're ever given credit for, and they know what's real and they know what's fake. And they knew that the love on the show was real.
Nice answer. Christopher, question for you. How did you handle fame while growing up in the public eye during your teenage years? And then I guess you could say years from now, reflecting back, what have you seen now in return 50-something years later? Like, what have you seen that's why the show is so popular?
Those are wildly different questions.
Yep, I know.
Fame is a tricky thing because everybody's got to handle it individually. It's a very personal thing. So I think we stumble through because there's no class on how to deal with, being that popular. But I did learn a lesson that I don't know where I learned it from, but something about feet of clay, and that if anyone who puts you on a pedestal, get down from it. because at some point in the future, you're surely going to fall off of it if you stay. And I think that's true. And I think that you really can't take yourself that seriously. And if somebody cares to worship you, that's nice, but don't accept it as worship. And be humble. And as humble as you can be. And I think at that point, then you become the same as the person who is your fan, which makes you equal. And that's, I believe, where you should end up.
I'm just glad that every man, woman, and child didn't have a high-def video camera in their pocket when I was living my childhood in my early 20s, because, that would have ruined my life. So it's bad enough now that they do, right? I can make a fool of myself plenty easy. How old am I?
I heard stories, Mike. I had friends that went to the same university that Mike was going to at the same time.
What are the?
I'd get reports.
At the University of Utah, yeah, I made quite a splash at the U. What are the chances, though, that 6 out of 6 child actors in a 1970s hit TV show all make it to the next millennium and are pretty much okay, decent people?
Very good.
6 for 6.
Very true. Very true. Next question's for all of you. I'm going to begin with Barry. Barry, was it ever a challenge to juggle your own identity with your characters, especially when fans expected you to act a certain way off camera when you're not being a Brady? It seems to say that over the years, you have definitely still embraced the Brady character. Would you say that it was difficult to juggle both your identity and Greg's identity?
It was impossible to juggle the two identities, so I just combined them. And the truth is, there's not that much difference. I mean, what you see with Greg was a guy that had younger brothers and sisters. I mean, I feel like this is my family. You see somebody who's trying to make things work, trying to explore life, trying to go on, trying to be a good person, trying to use exact words whenever I could. And by the way, I never once played ball in the house. I never once threw a football in my sister's nose. Trouble over here.
I never lost to my sister in a driving contest.
No affairs
That
with
was so
goats.
fake. That was so fake. I never would have lost if the script didn't say so.
What about the goats, Barry?
Yeah.
Raquel? You're gonna dish Raquel?
I was just jealous.
So, I think there's a nice blending of who the character is and who I am, and I get to make and meet a lot of people that I like a great deal and make friends with. I want to go back to a question you asked about how could you believe that the show would still be successful. I will tell you, honestly, it's because of collectively you being here today, you caring about us, you asking for pictures over there, having us sign them, having us take them. And I know that because I ask people, what did you like about the Brady Bunch? And they will tell me invariably, well, I like that you all got along. I love that your parents believed you and would try and work with you. I love that there was communication. I love that you guys shared a chemistry and we really thought you were a family. And those are the qualities of the show, and these are the qualities that our fans, our viewers, our public, the people that have enjoyed our show watched, and they understand and they get, and that's what we were trying to do.
Thank you. Chris, same question about juggling your own identity as a teenager and also becoming Peter Brady on the show, and how that mixed outside of off camera.
They were the same. I mean, there was no difference between Peter and Chris, and so, I mean, both were looking for themselves.
It's funny.
How many times did anyone shout out pork chops and applesauce to you on a daily basis?
And counting?
You might as well do it now. There we go.
Pork chops and applesauce. Yeah. Can't do it as well as I once did. More Jack Nicholson-esque now. But, yeah, because there's that. I mean, who else has a pork chop phenomenon in their life? As a matter of fact, I have a production company. I named it Pork Chop Phenomenon Inc. Because, you know, that's mine. And who would have known?
Mike, same question to you.
I was lucky in that the character, the role of Bobby, just meant me coming to work every day and just being a kid. You know, Bobby did some goofy things for the gag, for the comedy, you know, for the sitcom sketch effect. Bobby did some things that Mike Lookinland probably wouldn't have done, you know, at least not in public. And, you know, just not being not cool. Whereas, you know, Barry was cool when he was born, right? Anyway, Bobby did some things that maybe Mike Lookinland didn't think were cool, but I got off easy because I was a kid going to work every day, just being a happy-go-lucky kid, and on and off camera. So, you know, that was it made life easy for me.
Thank you. And Susan, being another, yeah, give it up. Susan, same question, being the other youngest Brady. How did it feel in terms of being off camera, your personalities, your identity? Were you able to have a quote-unquote normal childhood outside of being a Brady?
I fought hard to have a normal childhood. This is not a popular thing to say, and I want to cushion it, but I didn't like Cindy. I did not like the character. I thought she was an idiot. I thought she was a tattletale, which is like so uncool. I wanted the world to know that I wasn't her, but I wasn't the opposite of her either. The problem for me was I would go to school. We all went to regular public school when we weren't working. And I would get teased a lot for the dumb stuff Cindy did while she was in my body on TV. Things that I would never do, like tattletale. So, I mean, it wasn't that I was playing a monumentally different character than myself, but it was just uncool enough that I was like, oh no, what do I have to say this week? But all in all, it's fine with me.
Well, speaking about Cindy, you can't talk about Cindy without talking about her iconic lisp.
Yes, that was real.
We're going to talk about real and what's fake, but that was real. Were you ever self-conscious about it?
Totally.
And
when they made the episode, oh, thank you. Now I can go to school and everybody has more ammo to tease me with. Thank you. I actually went to a special S clinic. When I was 19, I was going to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I really only went to the S clinic because there was a cute guy going to the clinic as well. But my teacher, Rocco Dalvera, got my lisp to the point where he said, you know, it's really as good as it's going to get. You have a very small mouth. I had braces, I had teeth pulled, but I have a small mouth. And but what was funny to me was, so he got it as good as it could get. And when I was little, I couldn't hear it unless I watched the show, and then I'd start crying. Well, I thought I didn't lisp anymore, and I just watched TV and I'm lisping. But it was, you know, sometimes you just know there's a God because he's messing with you and he's showing you stuff. And I went on an audition. And they said, you know, sorry, this is on videotape. We can't hire you because you're lisp. You still lisp. I'm like, well, I'm doing as best as I can. The very next week, I went on an audition. They said, you're totally wrong for the part. But I've got to ask you, how did you get over that lisp? Your speech is so clear. So go figure. You know, I can hear it. Yeah, I've done a lot of radio and podcasts and stuff, and I always have my headphones to the side because to me, every time I say an S, it sounds like cymbals crashing. So So I'm still a little self-conscious about it.
Just a little.
So continuing with Mike and Susan, you guys were the youngest on the show. How did the other cast members treat you? Would they treat you as the youngest, the little sister, a little brother? Did you look up to the older cast members as role models?
I remember very, very well a moment with Barry where we were playing in the abandoned commissary on the Paramount lot. And we were playing the meat lockers and various places where we shouldn't have been. And there was a ladder to go up. And I was hesitant. And Barry took me aside, because Barry didn't have younger siblings at home. And he took a very big brotherly role and said, "Hey, Susan, come here. If you're not comfortable with this, you don't have to do it." Which was so completely unlike my brother at home, which would have said, "Come on, let's scare the crap out of Susan." So that was very, very nice, and he took on the role of big brother.
Did he lock you in the meat locker then?
We locked we locked Florence Henderson's daughter in the meat locker and kind of forgot about her.
Yeah, we got in trouble.
Yeah, we got in big trouble for that.
Yeah. There was definitely a family dynamic then, much as there is now. And I'm the little brother, and I tried to be, I could be in Chris's world a little, but I wasn't anywhere near, Barry was way out of my league, you know? It was very much a matter, like you said, of little brother and big brothers. And I looked up to them mainly because they brutally made fun of Maureen McCormick. Like teenage Maureen.
You said they, you two guys. Well, what about you?
I joined
you
in.
Joined in. And
Oh yeah, no, I just tagged along with wide eyes saying, "Oh, so that's how you do it." You know, there was Maureen got some teasing, and I enjoyed being a spectator in that event.
And Barry, a question for you, the complete flip side, being the oldest member of the Bradys, did you feel an added responsibility being the older sibling and looking after all the younger ones?
I'm the youngest of three boys in my family, so I was excited to become the eldest. But at first, that took kind of well, I learned some lessons from my brothers that weren't very kind. And so I tried some of them out on Chris and Bobby. Right. But I think pretty soon on, and especially when we started musically and we were doing albums and we started to tour and go out and do public appearances, yes, because there's so many things that are, so many moving parts to that, and to become protective and being older and actually having more experience at that time. Yeah, I was protective and I would take care of them like a big brother would.
Now, Barry, you mentioned earlier about stuff on the show that's real and stuff that's perceived to be fake. Christopher, I'm going to ask you this question. I was watching last night on TV with, we have it on streaming, with my younger sons. We were watching the Hawaii episodes. I'm sure everyone loves the Hawaii episodes. I did not know, well, you tell me, the tarantula scene in the Hawaii episode, Chris, you knew that it was a real tarantula and that there was some sort of chance? Like, how worried were you in that episode with that tarantula on you?
So there's two different emotions during this scene. There's a damn tarantula on me. And I've been told some things about that tarantula. I'll get to that. But if I acted brave, I'm like a hero, you know, to like the girls. So I was like that, overcame that fear. There was a reason to not let the fear get the best of me. Plus they did tell me that the spider had ball bearings in its fangs. I bought that. You know, I mean, working with a spider is kind of rare. I don't know how many people have. But there's always a wrangler. That's the title of the person in charge of the animal. It's, in this case, it's a spider wrangler. But how do you, when you need the spider to go one way or the other, what, are you saying right, left? So no, the guy's on the floor with a straw blowing at the spider, and the spider will move away from the air. So they put the bed on blocks to get it a little higher so you wouldn't see him crawling around the bed. But it wasn't like there was a whole lot of fidelity in the steering there, because it took him a while to crawl around the bed. And then there was really no way of stopping the spider from crawling to my face, because there's no straw in the back of the bed. So that was against the wall. It got really close. That was a real look of terror. And then I'd find out years later, through some the expert, there was no ball bearings in it. That's impossible. You would have killed the spider. So there's that.
And as some of you may know, I suffer greatly from Ellie Mae Clampett syndrome, loving all animals. So I was playing with the spider in between takes. And
How many
you
takes
remember
was
his
it?
name, right?
The spider's name?
Irving, yes.
The spider scene was one of those rare occasions when, like, if you weren't in the scene, you weren't there hanging around watching. We were either in school being wrangled by our mothers or whatever. If you weren't in the scene scheduling wise, you wouldn't be there. The spider scene was one of those days where everybody came around to say, "No way, there's a spider on Chris."
And they couldn't do it in Hawaii because there are no spiders in Hawaii. There are no tarantulas in Hawaii. They had to do it back on the Paramount lot with a professional tarantula wrangler.
How many takes did it do in order to get that shot right?
Good question. I mean, there's a number of shots. So the one where the spiders crawl into my face, probably one. And I believe it got so close that ultimately the wrangler, I don't even know if it was the wrangler. I think it might have been, who was the director of that? Jack Arnold? I mean, he came up and swiped it off because it got right here. And there was no stopping it, so it got smacked it off.
Now, same episode, or same 3 episodes, Barry, you were in that iconic surfing competition where Bobby gave you the necklace for good luck.
Good luck. The good luck necklace. I have them right over there, as a matter of fact.
Well, that's another question I'm going to ask. But so you knew how to surf ahead of time. You had experience surfing?
I did, but that didn't make any difference to our producers, who did not want me to surf under any circumstances. Had to do with insurance and liability and things like that, so I lied. I told them I won surfing contests, that I was practically professional, I'd be doing that if I wasn't busy acting, and they finally allowed me to do that. One of the best things I ever did. We had a ball out there, we had the whole bay to ourselves, and our extras for a couple of days, and surfing all the waves we could, and it didn't end up that well because I actually did. The fall that you see, and I was supposed to wipe out, but that was real, and I hit a coral head with my feet, and so it turned out to be even more dangerous than they had envisioned, but I was okay, and it did end the surfing.
Yeah, I know some people have said to me, "Oh, it doesn't look that spectacular. It wasn't a wipeout." If you look at it, it looks like his face went right into the coral, and apparently the crew thought that you might be dead.
I spun around when I hit the water. I spun around under the water. That's why you couldn't see that, and hit it with my feet.
We mentioned the tiki necklace, and I've been always told that finders keepers. Bobby found it, but you have possession of it. How did this agreement or compromise come to be?
Well, don't tell anyone, but I stole it. So, that's the only way you could get a prop. But I thought no one would miss it. They haven't unless you tell.
Okay, I think we're going to open it up to questions from the audience. I see. I'm going to go with a woman right in the back with a purple shirt. Her hand is up, right back. I saw her hand up right on the side. All the way in the back. Yeah, middle.
Throw the microphone up like a wedding corsage. Oh, there we go.
Is it on?
Get really close to it.
Okay, thank you for taking my question. I just want to say that my whole entire life, I watched your show from being a little kid to today. I still watch it. I'm hooked on it. My question is for Susan. I always thought you were adorable, cute as could be. I loved your curly hair.
Still is. Still is.
Yeah. And I'd like to know, did they bleach your hair blonde or was...
You bet. Everything you could do to hair, they did to me. If you look like in the third season, my hair is a different shade of blonde every episode.
Yes.
They were trying out different things. And then my hair started to fall out, and so they went back to letting my mom bleach my hair. Every Friday night she'd do my part line, and I had to sleep in rollers because my hair was string straight, couldn't hold a curl unless I slept in them. But my mother was responsible for those pigtails.
In 1970, trying different things meant a whole cocktail of weird chemicals, right?
Yeah.
Poor thing.
My hair did start growing.
All I had was Miss Clairol Jet Black number 23 or whatever. I remember the little bottle, it said Jet Black.
Mine was flaxen blonde.
Nice.
So this is a question for Mike. I want to ask you about the Joe Namath episode. So you may not know this, but you're at Hofstra right now, which was for many years training camp location for the New York Jets. There's probably a lot of Jet fans in the room. But my question for you is, in that episode, when he did he throw you the pass? Number 2, did you catch it on the first try? And number 3, did you get to keep the jersey? Because back then, jerseys weren't, readily available to most. So can you explain how that all went down?
The number 12 jersey or the Brady number 84 jersey? The one I wore? No, all the wardrobe would have just gone back into the big Paramount, file, the wardrobe, the vast catacombs of wardrobe they had. And same with the furniture and the props on the show. But, okay, what else did he ask me?
Did you catch the pass?
I got hung up on the jersey. If you look at the episode, the jerseys don't match. That's how cheap Paramount was. They literally don't even match. Yes, he threw the ball that was passed to me, and I did catch it. And first try, and several takes as well, which now that I think of it that's a pretty cool thing. Joe Namath, the last time I saw him, he said, Mike, hardly a day goes by in my life when somebody doesn't ask me what it was like to be on the Brady Bunch. Isn't that amazing?
And such a good guy.
We have time for a few more questions. Young man in the glasses.
If you remember the Brady Bunch episode, Today I'm a Freshman, when Peter is showing his volcano to Marcia and the other girls on the patio, it erupts, and the lava flies all over the place and lands on the girls. However, even though Peter is standing quite close to the volcano, none of the splashing lava gets on him. What was it like doing that Brady Bunch episode?
I had the same question.
Are you trying to...
The Brady Bunch episode...
Are you trying to imply there was a conspiracy?
Yeah, and if you remember that, what was it like doing the Brady Bunch episode Today I'm a Freshman where Peter's volcano erupted and the mud covered the girls? Was that real mud?
It was real mud that they made purposely. They call it, it's really clean mud. There's this stuff called Fuller's Earth, and they add water to it, like a clay. Worked for the purposes of the show, and I think it went in the right direction.
We didn't do a lot of special effects, and that was a special effect where they, they brought out the gizmos and
they wrote that to my character, which was perfect.
Right.
We have another question right back there. Yes.
Guys, thanks for coming today. We're all big fans for many years, so thank you for coming. My question is to the group. What was the deal with Cousin Oliver? Why was he in?
He's our shark jumper. Every time a show is like starting to get a little lower in the ratings, they add the new cute kid.
We were getting a little old for the premise of the show.
Yeah, I sort of
Somebody
knew.
young.
I sort of was looking at the exit when looking for the exit when Oliver walked through the
Me
front
too.
door.
Me too.
Just a little.
Although I loved him. I loved Robbie
Sort of had a
Wrist.
feeling. Yeah, Robbie's a good guy.
Yeah, but I did not want to go through puberty on national TV.
I just want to say that in defense of the actor, Robbie Wrist, he is not Cousin Oliver, and he's a cool guy. We all like him. We had him in our TV movie for Lifetime, the Christmas movie, and insisted that he be in it and included. He's really a lot of fun, and we all get along. He also was a guest on our, Chris and my podcast, which you haven't heard of, is called the Real Brady Bros.
Yeah.
And but Oliver was not a Brady.
So Barry is saying this because he's purging some inner guilt. When Robbie Wrist was hired to play Oliver and was on the show, maybe Barry was because he was older and more conscious of what that could mean, didn't like it. And it was really palpable. Barry was not a fan of Robbie Wrist as a consequence of this character being introduced to our show. But now he's fine with Robbie.
And Robbie's a great musician.
All right, we have one more question right over here.
Since we have the four of you together, can you sing for us? Just one line.
That costs a lot of money.
Hey, can I say one thing?
Yes.
When we don't do this for a living, we don't do this all the time. But when we do, we're often in a room where it's full of Marvel, and it's full of anime, and it's full of and there's people from Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and Harry Potter and 500 people from reality shows that I've never heard of. And I especially like this one because it's all Brady all the time, baby.
Yeah.
So I guess my final question is, Barry, would you mind singing for us?
I tell you what I'll do. First of all, I know that there have been a lot of hands that are still up. And
Yeah, come to our table.
we'll be over here like till 6 o'clock, so there'll be plenty of time if you want to come, and there's enough time to ask questions then, so you don't go home with questions unanswered. Now, in terms of singing, what might be fun, probably the best known song from the Brady Bunch. I think I'll go for a walk outside now. The summer sun's calling my name. But you know what? You know what made the difference between the Bradys and the Partridges?
You were cooler.
We could dance.
Yeah.
But the dances were pretty simple because not everybody was up to dancing speed. Not everybody wanted to do the musical episodes. And some people didn't like dancing about as much as I didn't like Robbie Wrist when he first joined our show.
Some people still don't want to dance.
However, I would like to give you all a chance today to become honorary Bradys. And to do that, I would like to teach you how to do the Brady moves just the way we did them to Sunshine Day. Well, my other Brady mates exit the stage because they can't stand this stuff. You're going to sing with you, okay, you can sing with me. So what I'd like for you to do in order to qualify for becoming honorary Brady is if everybody would please stand up. We're going to learn this together. It starts with the very basics, and it's a march. Please begin. You can begin on your left foot. I'm going to begin on my right. It goes like this. Now here you go. Once you get this going, you're finding your groove. Now remember, you need to move, and you need to remember your Brady personality. All right, we do this for a little while, and then we go into the Brady Shuffle. See, match this, please. All right. Look at you, even you're getting up to stand nice. I love this. And then finally, we had the step touch. Yeah. All right, that is perfect.
That's
All right, here we
great.
go. 1, 2, 3. I think I'll go for a walk outside now. The summer sun is calling my name. I hear you now, I just can't stay inside all day. I gotta get out, get me some of those rays. Everybody's smiling,
Sunshine Day,
everybody's laughing,
Sunshine Day.
everybody seems so happy today. Why? It's a sunshine day. And now, by the power vested in me, I pronounce each and every one of you honorary Bradys for life.
All right, for the Brady Bunch, Barry Williams, Christopher Knight, Mike Lookinland, and Susan Olsen. You can meet them right over there by their tables. Couple other things to remind you, the chocolateexpo.com. We're grateful for being here. Please make sure you look around. If you get a chance, look at those cool looking iconic balloon figures of the Brady Bunch cast. And look at the house. You got that house model, looks just like the model on the show, looks like just like the house on the show. Please take a look at all the different vendors here today.